All right, Shalom. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. This article is from newstarget.com, and the headline reads, it says how U.S. food and pharma systems are literally designed to kill you. All right, and this is what we already know, okay? But this is the famine that's right here and right now. And I want to get into that real quick here, okay? So let's go to this article here, okay? Because not only are we eating toxic and deadly food, we're also in the midst of a famine, okay? So this headline reads here, this is from the Economic Collapse Report, and it says 3 critical factors that will lead to reduced food production for the rest of 2026 and the entire year of 2027. Okay, things are getting critical, as we told you, but it's all prophecy. Okay, let's summarize it real quick and see what we can get from it. All right, bear with me 1 second. You know, it's that time. So hold on 1 second. All right, so here we go. It says here, it says overview of the impending food crisis, right? It says a convergence of geopolitical conflicts and supply chain disruptions and extreme weather is creating, quote, a perfect storm. All right. And remember when before Trump got in office his second term, I remember he kept saying that the perfect storm was coming. He kept saying the storm was coming. All right. So what did he know back then, you know? It says geopolitical conflicts and supply chain disruptions and extreme weather is creating a, quote, perfect storm for global food production. Experts warn this will result in a historic food crisis that will worsen through late 2026 into 2027. All right, time is running out, man. All right, it says critical factors threatening global food supply. Middle East conflict and fertilizer scarcity. A war with Iran has disrupted commercial traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, severely restricting fertilizer exports from the Persian Gulf. The UN FAO warns that this scarcity will significantly lower crop yields globally. Okay, this is going to lower crop yields globally. All right. Eastern European war and grain shortages. Escalating conflict has crippled Ukrainian grain exports. Military strikes on Black Sea ports like Odessa have reduced shipments to just 20% of their potential. Alternative routes are struggling, leaving major importers like Egypt and Indonesia facing delayed or canceled shipments. Record low U.S. wheat harvest, right? The United States is projected to harvest only 32 million acres of wheat in 2026, and is its lowest acreage since 1877. This decline is driven by severe droughts, extreme temperature swings, high fertilizer and diesel costs, and crop viruses, right? Hurricanes, global impact. Okay, wealthy nations, consumers can expect already high food prices to surge to unprecedented levels. All right, so we haven't even seen nothing yet. Okay, the price of groceries or whatnot, gas, okay, it's just getting started. So they're saying it's going to get entirely worse. Impoverished nations, vulnerable populations will face severe food shortages, worsening a global hunger crisis that is already at record highs, right? Let's go to Revelation chapter 6. Okay, starting at verse 7. The fourth seal, death. Okay? Revelation chapter 6, verse 7. And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. All right, so the Lord is bringing various scenarios of death upon this world. Okay, the plagues, famines, pestilence, war, the sword. Okay, all these different scenarios of death are going to follow soon. Okay, It says, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, all right, which is pretty much Esau's world, his dominion. Okay? And these are the things that are happening now. Over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death. See? And with the beasts of the earth. Let me add one more. All right, 2nd Esdras, chapter 15. Okay, because that time has been fulfilled where now the Lord is getting ready to unleash these scenes of death, you know, these scenarios of death. This is 2nd Esdras 15. And I'll read to the point. 2nd Esdras 15:1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, okay, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, Yehovah Shem Yahushai, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee, and let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. All right, especially at this point in time. Okay, if you got a scoffer or a non-believer, what does that do? Okay, with all these things coming to pass on the planet Earth. All right, a person that don't believe what's being said is the least of our worries. Hell, the Lord said, you know, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee. All right, so if you don't believe, then the Lord just he created you not to believe. Okay, you've been set forth, you've been set aside for the destruction. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. All right, straight to the point. Verse 5, the point, it says, behold, saith the Lord, Yehovah Shem Yahushai, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. So we were just reading this here in Revelation 6. These are the plagues, man. To kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. You see? 2nd Esdras 15:6, for wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. So now the Lord is bringing the judgment. Now it's time. Okay, as we see how fast things are moving. Right? So let's get into it here. You know, just more on this this critical famine that's about to go down globally, man. All right.
I am no longer eating meat after Donald Trump would not even disclose what country he is importing 300 metric tons of meat. All right, let me correct that. 300,000 metric tons of meat. Of course, the cattle ranchers in America are the ones getting fucked. They're also hunting America's wild horses to export the meat to countries that eat horses. What?
We have right now. The growth will take care of that very easily.
Mr. President, 700.
Question about it.
Mr. President, on the beef deal, which countries did you make that deal with? What are the sources
which
of
deal?
the beef deal?
I don't want to say which countries, but there are a few countries, but they're going to be sending in the highest quality beef, and it's something that we need.
Yeah, so nobody knows what the hell they eating, man. Okay, and this is serious, right? The Lord said we would eat our food defiled amongst the Gentiles, man. So let's get into it here. All right, this is again from the newstarget.com. It says Trump's Argentina beef import flood. Betrayal of American farmers in the road to food dependency. Okay? And we'll just read a little bit here before you play the video. Okay, you know what? Always got to summarize it just to save some time. Get straight to the point. All right, 1 second, bear with me. Because, you know, and on top of that, who's heavily down in Argentina? Amalek. Okay, they basically, you know, have taken over that country, man. So if you got beef, like you said, was it 300 metric tons of beef? And they're saying it's horse meat and shit, probably human meat. Okay, so nobody knows what the fuck they eating, man. So this is the famine, like I said, right here and right now. Okay, it says overview of beef import policy. It says policy change. The Trump administration quadrupled the tariff rate quota for Argentine beef, adding 80,000 tons to the quota in February 2026, and suspending tariffs on additional 300,000 tons for 90 days in August. Stated goal versus criticisms. The administration claims the move will lower retail ground beef prices for working families. However, the author argues it is a geopolitical favor to Argentina President Javier Milei that sacrifices U.S. domestic agriculture, right? Let's see if there's anything else. All right. Yeah, the point. So we'll play this video. But again, you know, nobody knows what's really in this meat that they're importing over here, man. And like he was saying, they're slaughtering horses and calling it beef. You know, that's why we got to get the fuck out of here, man. Right? Let's play this.
Manuka honey is one of the world's...
1 second.
Well, one of the big news items over the weekend was Trump announcing that 300,000 tons of, I think what he called product for beef, we'll talk about that mystery shortly, is going to be imported from Argentina now because the tariffs will be dropped against it. And this has, of course, enraged U.S. farmers. I mean, you can't blame them. I mean, Trump, you know, farmers voted for Trump. He promised them that he would really encourage, you know, domestic supply chains and domestic farmers and ranchers and domestic production. You know, you've heard this over and over again. This is, and by the way, Argentina being chosen for this is not a coincidence. This actually has everything to do with the Zionist plan, by the way. But there's an even bigger plan underway to consolidate the beef industry into the hands of just a few mega corporations in America and to wipe out the small independent farmers and ranchers. So it's not just the ranchers that have the cattle, it's also the farmers that grow the feed for the cattle. They're being put out of business because of this. I talked to ranchers. They're incensed about this because the price of their cows, you know, of their herd just plummeted. And you're going to see bankruptcies across the board. Across the United States, massive bankruptcies, even with herd sizes already near record lows or historic lows, at least in the last 40 years, they're going to get a lot worse.
Yep. And the Lord is using these devils to break that staff of bread. Ezekiel, let me get that. Ezekiel chapter 4. All right. Ezekiel 4 and verse 16. Okay. It says, matter of fact, we'll start up. It says, Ezekiel 4 and 14. Then said I, O Lord power, behold, my soul have not been polluted for from my youth up and even till now have I not eaten of that which dieth of itself, or is turned in pieces, neither came their abominable flesh in my mouth. And see, the shit that they're serving people now, you don't know what it is. Okay? So we're definitely eating our food defiled, man. Okay? Micah 2 and 10. All right? This place is greatly polluted. Okay? Verse 15. Then he said unto me, Lo, I have given thee cow's dung for men's dung, and thou shalt prepare thy bread therewith, right? NLT, all right, the Lord said, you bake your bread with cow dung instead of human dung, right? Again, just showing you how defiled the food is now. You know? Verse 16, moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight and with care. And, going into the rationing of food shortages. Right? And they should drink water by measure and with astonishment. Right? And look what's going on with the water supply now. Okay, the whole data center situation. They're running out of water. This whole ordeal. Okay? Verse 17, that they may want bread and water and be astonished one another and consume away for their iniquity. So the Lord is bringing the famine. Okay? Lacking food and water, people will look at one another in terror, and they will waste away under the punishment. This is the judgment, man. As we just read. Okay? 3 critical factors that will lead to reduced food production for the rest of 2026 and the entire year of 2027. Right? This is prophecy, man. Let's play some more. Just putting this out there, man. As he said, it's going to get a lot worse.
A lot worse. And on top of that, Trump saying that there's going to be 300,000 tons, not pounds, but tons of imported, quote, product for beef. I'm not exactly sure what he means by product for beef. Does he mean just cows? Or does he mean something like, beef product, like so-called pink slime?
Yeah, not real fucking beef. Not real meat, man. Okay? And this has been brought out. The shit they're serving in these fast food restaurants, human meat, pink slime, not even real chicken and beef. All right, we're in the famine. It's over, man.
Is this something that sort of legally, technically could be called beef, but maybe you wouldn't recognize it? If you saw, I'm not sure what he meant by that, but a lot of people are suspicious that he used that very specific phrase, product for beef. Why didn't he just say 300,000 tons of, cows or something, or 300,000 tons of beef? What is this product for beef? Well, probably you're going to find out, or we're all going to find out. Now, a big part of the...
Exactly. All right. And that's all I wanted to take from that. People are going to find out that you're not eating real meat at all, real food at all. Okay. So it takes us back to this, as we saw earlier. Again, from News Target, it says how U.S. food and pharma systems are literally designed to kill you. Right. This is what it's all about. It's all part of the depopulation plan. Okay. Everything that we consume on a daily basis is defiled. Nothing's organic. Like Elder Pastor Tahar said in a response to a lesson I did before, everything is pretty much cooked. You can try to attempt to eat organic. It's all defiled. It's all sprayed with the same shit. The water, everything is jacked up, man. The whole earth, let's get that. The whole earth is out of course under this goddamn devil, man. Again, if he had it his way, he would wipe out everybody. All right. Psalms 82:5. And it reads, they know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth out of course. Everything is jacked up. Okay. When the wicked bear of rule, the people mourn. Right? NLT, Psalm 82:5. But these oppressors know nothing. They are so ignorant. They wander about in darkness while the whole world is shaken to the core. This whole world is jacked the fuck up, man. From the food to the water to the air, everything, man. The mindset of the people, the population. That's why the Lord has to come back and destroy this place, man. Okay, this is from quick summary here from the from this article. Let's go back to it. It says the coordinated profit model, a cycle of sickness. The author argues that the U.S. food and pharmaceutical industries operated in a unified model designed to profit from chronic illness. Right? Yeah. So there's no money in people being healthy. He's all about profit, capitalizing off of death and sickness, man. Okay, creating addiction. The processed food industry intentionally engineers nutritionally empty, addictive products that cause inflammation and metabolic diseases. You see that? And like I said, this stuff we read in here, this is already known facts. Monetizing disease, exactly. Instead of offering cures, the pharmaceutical industry steps in to sell lifelong prescription drugs like Ozempic that merely manage systems of diet-induced diseases. Right? It's the damn devil. Right? The toxic American food supply, lower standards. The U.S. permits food additives, heavy metal contaminants, and ingredients that are strictly banned in other developed nations, right? And most of the world is against this GMO foods, Monsanto, all the damn preservatives and additives that they put in American food. That's why when they had the Olympics over here recently, these people from the other nations didn't want to eat the American food. They had to import their own food from their own countries. And that shows you how terrible this fucking food is, man. It says engineered addiction. Food scientists intentionally formulate products with bliss point, a specific ratio of sugar and salt and fat, to trigger dopamine releases and maximize addiction. Yeah, it's all sorcery, witchcraft, man. Pharmakia. Subsidized illnesses. The government subsidizes the raw materials for junk food, corn, soy, and wheat, while simultaneously paying for the resulting medical consequences through public health programs. This is wicked, right? That's why the scripture said that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Okay, these Edomites have to be stopped. You know, serious judgment, man. This is Sirach. Let's go there. Sirach 40 and verse 9 and 10. All right, this is Sirach or Ecclesiastes chapter 40, verse 9 and 10. It says, death will start up. Verse 8. Sirach 48. Such things happen unto all flesh, both man and beast, and that is sevenfold more upon sinners. Death and bloodshed, strife and sword, calamities, famine, tribulation and the scourge. These things are created for the wicked, and for their sakes came the flood. You see that? So just like now, okay, these things were created for the wicked, all right, for sinners, the judgment of the Lord. Because everywhere you turn in this society, there's nothing but death, all right? And that's the point there. So let's see if there's anything else just to show you, man. All right, like we said, the Edomite has to be stopped, okay? All right, this is from futurism.com. Scientists turn plastic waste into edible cookies because that's the future we deserve. See? Nothing goes to waste, right? So there you go, man. Right? We ain't even got to read that. All right? But this is the future, man. This pseudo left-handed kingdom where there's no genders. All right? No more real food. Okay? Man, merging himself with machine and just a bugged out world, man. This is what they're trying to push. Okay, all these different jabs that's in people's bodies. It's over, man. What else can we say? All right, we need salvation from the hands of our enemies, man. Psalms 97. We got to be delivered. Psalms 97 and 10. And it reads, "Ye that love the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, hate evil. He preserveth the souls of his saints. He delivereth them out of the hand of the wicked." Okay? The Lord's going to deliver us from this hellhole, this madness, man. But this is where we headed. Okay? Things are getting critical. It's all prophecy. Shalom.